We're here today with one of the Rockstar outpatients, I guess you'd almost say now. Thomas has had some great experiences here at the Dragonfly Wellness Center. I'm Ryan Riley, working with the 22 Cavalry, founded by Kevin Day, and we wanted to visit and ask Thomas some of his experiences as he's gone through the process. So really today's about you and about the things that you brought to the table and the things you experienced. So let's start a little bit with, describe PTSD as the way you see it, some of your friends in combat, and what the value is if they can come here, and what you experienced.
I guess, PTSD is so broad.
Okay.
I guess if I were to wrap it up, it would be, you have all these experiences and memories in this box, right?
Okay.
And that box on all of its edges is like razor blades. So every time you recall these events or these memories or these thoughts, it jostles around and it just cuts. And it just cuts deep, and it just keeps bleeding and bleeding. And you could try to ignore it and hold that box still, right? But all the damage is already done, right? And it's just a matter of time before that starts rolling. So I came through with the help of Linda here at Dragonfly, and I did their light bed, I did the theta bed, the nutritional stuff, the whole gamut, right? And the best way to sum up what this did for me is that box is still there, right? That's something that'll never, you can't forget, right? But what that box looks like now is, there's no more razor edge, right? It's soft, right? And so I can recall these memories, these events, and instead of it jostling around and causing all this damage, now it's soft, and the meaning behind these events is no longer damaging, right?
That's a powerful metaphor.
I'll always have them, and they're a piece of me, but they don't have to define me anymore.
Right. That's really, really powerful clarity. And I think it will relate to so many vets at so many levels. And it will relate to people that have PTSD that may not have necessarily been in the armed forces. Because what you described is, let me reiterate it so that I understand and you clarify. Is this box a prison? Is it a context? Is it a memory? Is it all of that?
Oh yeah, it's everything. And you mentioned prison. That's a good way too, because the more you think about these memories and these experiences, you can get stuck in that box, right? And
that's the cycle of PTSD often, is that they're stuck getting
trapped. You're in that box, and by yourself, you can try and push that lid open all you want, and you might get a crack here and there, but it takes something more than just yourself to lift that lid and let you out. And here at Dragonfly is what opened that lid. A big thing for me that was holding me back is I had a platoon sergeant of mine, right?
Okay.
And a father figure is an understatement, right? So I was in the hospital in Fort Belvoir, Virginia, doing some PTSD treatment there, and he was deployed, but I saw him in the lunchroom.
Okay.
Long story short, I left about a week later, and he was found in his medical barracks, and he had killed himself. And I held on to that, and I was so angry and just, I had so many questions, and I was, desperate for closure, right? And I was in the theta bed, and some amazing and odd, just amazing things can happen in there. And
So did it unravel the memory and make sense out of it?
it gave me an opportunity of clarity. It was like I could see him. He was there, right?
Sure.
And
Your subconscious was bringing the memories and what
Yeah.
you knew back. You were processing what you'd seen, experienced.
exactly.
Okay.
And I was able to process that, and then, all that anger
Yeah.
and desperation, left.
That's huge. It's life changing.
Right. And I've done treatment, while in the service, out of the
Sure.
service, and all of them, it seemed, were this like cookie cutter approach, right? Here's a vet, here's PTSD, we're gonna go through steps, A through Z,
I see.
and out you go, right? And in here, it's not like that. I sat down with Linda and I shared my story, and it didn't feel cookie cutter at all. It's individually tailored, per a different person, right? All of our experiences are so different. And
That's been my experience with Linda. She
Yeah.
looks at it from a whole perspective
right,
and allows you, but yet she takes into consideration your story.
right,
And not to stop your flow there for a minute, one of the things that, again, my limited experience with PTSD relative to the soldier, we all have our own wars that we fight, but when
Right.
things come upon you that you can't control, I love your analogy of the box with razors, because oftentimes softening that box is something we just don't know how to do because it's stuck in a place we can't get to it.
exactly.
And what you're
It can seem
describing
impossible.
is the Dragonfly Wellness Center is facilitating a veteran in this case and other veterans to get out of the box, literally.
Exactly.
I mean, you talk about, let me think outside the box, let me get outside of my box, and if that box is a prison and there's events that you can't function out of, that's powerful. What would you say to other vets that may be apprehensive a little bit in coming? What counsel might you give? What invitation might you give them so that they, feel like they can take a step?
Okay. I mean, my advice would be, if you're willing to travel all over the world, right, and do your job just because someone tells you to do it, right? You don't know the big picture.
Right.
You don't know the outcome, right? If you're willing to put that amount of trust in a person or in your unit to take you
Sure.
over there and bring you back, right? Why not let
Right.
why not let a Dragonfly do the same, right?
That's great.
And
Yeah.
it's just, if you want out of that box and you've tried everything else, just because you may have think that you've tried everything,
Right.
that was me. What's the point of even doing anything else? I've tried the meds, I've done the counseling,
Yeah.
I've tried everything, nothing will work, right? Just give yourself over to the process.
Right.
Try something new, and if you don't, you're never gonna get out of that box. That box will, get tighter and tighter
Right.
and tighter, and unfortunately, once it gets there, your options
Yeah, are limited.
are limited. Stick your damn hand out of the box and let someone else take it to get you out.
I love
And
that.
that's what Dragonfly did.
I think that's really good counsel, and thank you so much for putting it that way.
Yeah.
You think about people that are stuck.
Mm-hmm.
You think about people that can't transition for whatever reason.
Right.
I really like what you said. We would invite them at 22 Cavalry, so that you understand what we're doing, and those that are listening understand. Our intention is to provide the means and the opportunity necessary for the veterans to come, those with PTSD and their families.
That's a big part.
Oftentimes a wife or a child may need to come in because the after effect of what they've experienced is also translated into the family or the girlfriend or whatever the issue may be.
Yeah.
And we would welcome them to come so that
That's awesome.
their boxes could be taken care of.
Definitely.
Some people oftentimes look at 22 Cavalry as a means of a free handout. Be very clear that our intent at 22 Cavalry is to have the veterans serving the veterans when they need help. So for instance, somebody would come to me, I need the treatment, great, 22 Cavalry would hand them the $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 they would need for treatment X to come in.
Right.
And then it would be their opportunity to repay that money and a usury or an interest of kind so that they can rescue the next vet.
See, and
it is a
that's-
self-perpetuating fund that you are being called as the cavalry to come in to help
Right.
your fellow brethren in arms.
And, you
I want that very
that's
clear,
huge.
you know?
That's massive. The one thing that
Please.
I miss most about the military is that, is that camaraderie.
You bet.
Right? And, not only are you giving vets the chance to get the help they need.
Which,
but-
by the way, we are honored.
Thanks.
Thank you for your service. We
Thank
are
you. Thanks
honored.
for your support.
You protect my family. I live behind your sacrifice.
You're not only providing the opportunity, but you're giving them, the chance to, get that camaraderie back. And,
bet.
for me, that's huge.
Well, we will be having retreats twice a month. 22 Cavalry. There'll be 2 by 2. There'll be 2 vets to help 2 vets, and they form a core of 4.
Okay, yeah.
They can call on each other. They can hold accountabilities. They can come to the retreats that we have twice a month, so that we're going to do
Awesome.
processing with journaling.
Right.
We're going to do processing with events. We're going to go out, potentially work with horses or cows or a
There you
fishing
go.
trip,
Yeah.
outdoor expeditions. And we want the families to come as well, because the vets need to be empowered to create a new future
Exactly.
out of their healedness, share the world and support each other. It's a self-perpetuating group. That is the idea. And I don't have time to go into my story because it's not about me, but I want you to understand that that's the intent. It's a call to battle for your
Right.
friends that were there with you at every level.
It's just what he's offering, guys. Just go get it. You have to want to make that change. Like I said, stick your hand out of that box. It's not fair to yourself, to the ones around you, to hide in there. I get it. That box, however violent and horrifying and lonely it can be, I understand that becomes the norm, right? But as most of you know, the longer you stay in there, the more destructive it gets. Just stick your hand out and let these guys help. I would have. If these
Thank
guys
you.
were there.
I would just say we're honored to serve you, and we are honored to really just to bring this forth so that the vets can help the vets. This is you guys taking care of each other.
Yeah,
That's the whole spirit of this idea. 22
that's the
Cavalry,
way it should be.
you coming to the rescue.
Awesome.
There's, that's the gist of it. So thank you so much. We will be here. Call us. Give us a caller.